Hello, my name is Rachel and I'm here today to film a review of Stephen King's It. So this is a very popular book at the moment. Obviously a cinema adaptation of this has just come out. Yeah, I've wanted to read it for quite a while because I'm quite a big Stephen King fan. If you've watched my videos before you will know that. I'm not going to hold the book up for the whole video because it's really heavy. But yeah, that's what it looks like. My copy was 1,376 pages, so this is now technically the biggest book I've ever read, I think. But the other biggest book I ever read was The Count of Monte Cristo, and I think if it was in the same font and the same like size writing and all of that stuff, I actually think it would be longer than this one. The word count is probably longer, but yeah, this has more pages. And yeah, so Stephen King's It is about this entity of evil that basically terrorizes this town and this group of children, and yeah, they're basically fighting it, and then as adults they have to fight this entity again, and it basically, the book follows both really well. It's really well twined together and really well written. I really enjoyed that. The story of the adults and the story of them as children sort of weave together really. It's not like a chapter for them, a chapter for them. It just kind of, they fold into each other, and it's really well written, I think. And for the first 3/4 of the book I would have given it 4 stars, maybe 4.5 stars. I was really enjoying it. It was very long-winded, but I didn't mind because I felt like it was going to be worth it at the end. But in the end I did end up giving it 3 stars, unfortunately, because the ending was not for me. But I think I'm going to go see the film when I go home, and I think I'm actually going to enjoy that one a bit better because I don't think they'll do the stuff in the end that really annoyed me in the film. I can't see them doing it. It's a bit of a Game of Thrones situation. If you've read it, you might know what I mean by that. So yeah, I'm going to go through a few of the things that I enjoyed about the book and then a few of the things I didn't enjoy. This will be a non-spoiler review anyway, so don't worry about that. So one of my main things that I really enjoyed about this book was the representation. So Stephen King's It was written in the 80s, and considering it's a book written in the 80s, it has phenomenal representation. Like, it has better representation than books I read written now that are more conscious of representation, and this was written 40 years ago, 30 years ago, something like that. We have homosexual characters. I think there's 3 by the end of it. There might be 4 actually. And one of the stories an early on story that kind of opens the book, I really enjoyed the sort of homosexual narrative that went through with that and thought it was really well written. We have a lot of characters from different races. One of the main characters in the story is a black person, and he plays a very big role in the story. And then there obviously are other black people. You have different religions. There's a Jewish boy in it. There's people with different problems, like there's a boy who's asthmatic, there's someone who's overweight, there's domestic abuse, there's just so much different representation of different things that I really enjoyed. The only thing I found a little bit weak was the female representation. One of the main characters is a woman, and there are women in it, but I felt like they all kind of fell into the same boxes, and they were very similar, and the only main female character we had, I thought that she was actually a really strong character, even though she was in a really weak position as a child, and I really enjoyed her sort of development as a child and as the story opens as she's an adult. But I found that when it got to the end of when she was an adult in the end, and a little bit of the child stuff as well, I just thought it took a terrible turn and sort of wasn't written well anymore. So yeah, the representation is really good, especially considering when it's written. So that is the first thing I would love to just commend Stephen King for, because that's a hard thing to do in the 80s as far as I'm concerned. And I know that he is often criticised for language. He uses the N-word to refer to black people a lot. He uses words like fag to refer to homosexuals. But he does it in a way that his characters would use this language, his characters would have this opinion, and instead of acting like these opinions don't exist, he weaves them into his text and kind of condemns his characters and shows you why those beliefs aren't right. And it's just really, I really enjoy Stephen King as a writer, basically, is what I'm saying. Another thing I really enjoyed was the links to Dracula. So at one point, I think there is like an explicit link to Dracula, like he actually mentions it. But the it entity can go into people and sort of take over them a little bit, and it echoes really well the parts of Dracula where he goes into this guy who's in like a mental asylum, and he keeps like counting flies and all that sort of stuff. And it linked back to that really well. Although I don't like Dracula, I've never finished it, even though I've tried reading it twice. I can't stand it. But I enjoy links to other types of literature just because I'm a bit nerdy. And the other thing I really enjoyed was that it was with that same storyline. It linked really well with The Shining as well, which is my favourite Stephen King book. I thought this one might end up being my favourite and that it might scare me more than The Shining, but it didn't. Shining is still definitely Stephen King's best work for me so far. He has a similar thing where someone's doing something horrible and then the character looks in their eyes and there's this blankness and you see this evil in their eyes and stuff, and it was really reminiscent of The Shining, which I really enjoyed. Although I don't know which way he wrote them round. I think he wrote The Shining before it, but I can't remember. So there were some things I really enjoyed about it. Other things I enjoyed, the structure of the story, like I said, the way that he twined the adults and the youth together. I actually enjoyed the interludes, which I know is a lot of people's criticism of it. A lot of people don't like them. Some people skip them. I actually found them quite enjoyable. It basically has these the 4 or 5 interludes where they'll be like newspapers or it'll be someone's diary entries, and they're not in the story, but they give you information and context and background to the story. And yeah, I found them actually quite enjoyable, so I liked them bits. And then yeah, those are the things I like. Like I said, first 3 quarters of the book, loved it. I was enjoying it so much. It was taking me so long to read, and I didn't mind. I was enjoying it. It was putting me way behind on my Goodreads goals because it's so long, and it didn't bother me. And I got to the end and was like, oh, now it's bothering me. So yeah, I do have a few criticisms of the book, and yeah, the first one obviously is the thing I said about the female character. I didn't think she was well done towards the end. I found the ending really dragged. A good 300 to 400 pages. I think you could have easily cut from the book as a whole. Not the interludes, which I know a lot of people would have said, but I didn't like the way it ended. The stuff after there's like the big event that happens and the wrap up after. You could have lost all of that. Part of the big event that happens, didn't like it. Didn't think it was very well written. I couldn't see it in my mind either. One thing that Stephen King is really good at is putting the picture in my mind. So when I was reading The Shining, I could see the hotel. I could see the hedge topiary, whatever them animal things are called. I could see everything. And when I was reading it, I could see like the houses of the kids. I could see the streets and the storm drains, and I could see the forest and the barrens, and I could see all this stuff in my head. When it got to the end though, couldn't see it, couldn't picture it at all. I just really didn't enjoy where it went at the end. Like I said about the very end bit, it did feel unnecessary. It felt like it could have been cut. It also felt very cheesy, which I didn't enjoy at all. And there was stuff that happened that sort of didn't get referenced, and they were pretty big things to happen, and it just kind of skated over them, and I wanted them to be discussed, basically. There was also a scene of a sexual nature towards the end that I just had no idea why it was there, and the minute I read it, it completely pulled me out of the narrative, and it made me just see all these problems and made me just really not enjoy the ending. I just really didn't get it at all. I didn't get why it was written. I didn't get why it was there. I don't think there was enough reasoning behind it through the narration. Like, they didn't really try to explain it. It was just very pointless and not necessary. As I said at the beginning, I don't think that will happen at the end. It's similar to the Game of Thrones situation where they had to change loads of the actors because the actors were too young to film certain scenes. I know the actors they've chose for the movie of It are very young, so I don't think they would put those scenes in, hopefully, because I just don't think they worked anyway. So yes, that is my review for It by Stephen King. I did enjoy it. It feels very clouded in my head now because of the ending, which is quite a disappointment. I still think it was very well written and very well structured and all that sort of stuff, so I will definitely pick up more Stephen King in the future anyway, because I just love him. And yeah, that was my review. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!